Thank you, lady. Morning, guys. Let me see. I got 20 people. It's a little over half. I guess I'll celebrate that. Does anyone have any other questions from homework? Of course, the quiz is happening today.
Yeah, can you go over number 6 on 1-9? It's the one with
Yeah.
like the stem leaf plot with the newspapers. I think it's just that maybe the way the questions are framed, they're just throwing me off.
Maybe. Let's see. So up here, you've got crappity doodah. Hold on. Let me turn on my pen. Oh, there's so many little buttons just to do it. Okay. So up here, you got like 10 to 19.9 and 20 to 29.9. And this was 2, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the big mistake people are making. When I go down here to make this scale, I'm going to go 10 to 20 to 30 because the next class would be 30 to 39.9. Is everybody with me?
Yeah.
And then between 10 and 20, so you're going to have to figure out your scale here. Let me turn my heater off. I'm like yelling. I'm going to let you figure out your scale, but I'm going to pretend like I'm going to put 2 there. That might not be correct. So then this would be that tall. And then you just keep going. Is that okay?
Yeah, I totally get that part. It's the next one with the stem and leaf plot, the newspapers. Oh. It's that one. Yeah, that one I totally got.
Number 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did I say, number 6?
You did. I think.
Oh, I misspoke then.
With my memory, you never know. Okay, number 7. Okay.
Yeah, that one.
So, okay, number 7. Yeah. All right. So all right, just forget number 7. Forget about it. Clear it from your brain. Can you tell me what this means right here? What does that mean?
Does that mean 58 because there's
beautiful, beautiful. That means 58. Okay. So what is this? Let's just pick another random one. What does this mean?
65.
Good. What does this mean?
66.
Okay, now keep that in mind. How many states had 656 newspapers?
1? I don't know. I'm not too sure how.
Darn it, I thought we had. All right. What does this mean? Down here, that last one.
230?
230. And again, remember, this meant 65. This meant 66. If there was a 656, what should have showed up? If this is 230, and this is 220, and this is 118, right?
Mm-hmm.
656 would mean there would have had to have been what here at the bottom?
65?
Yeah, and is there a 65 there?
No.
Nope. So how many states had 656?
None.
None.
Okay, that's what I was even thinking last night. I'm like, is this a trick question? I was just thinking it was a trick question.
Yeah, we know
I
these
get it now.
mean 65,
so
66, and then your brain says, oh, I see a 656, and you're like, brain,
exactly.
stop it. That ain't what that means, brain.
Okay, so yeah, I get it now. I was completely overthinking it, and I figured just asking and like you explaining, it's like, okay, I get it now. Thank you.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works.
And also, I was just completely overwhelmed yesterday too.
I understand. Believe me.
Thank you.
I was in the dentist chair last night, so that's always the best way to spend any time at all. Let me see. Clear. All right, guys. Any other questions from homework? Considering we have a quiz today.
That was my only problem with that homework.
Oh, the one we just talked about? That was it? Okay, I like it. Everybody else is good? You guys? Page 115, number 4. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so. All right, let me see. Person who said that to me. Okay. did you get number 2? Believe it or not, give me a minute. Did you get number 2? Raji, is it Raji? Yes, you did. Okay, so what was your answer to number 2? It would be, I mean, it's kind of a long answer, right? But I mean, what does this symbol mean here? Anybody?
Same together.
I'm
C and A.
There it is. So it's got to be all the allergies, I mean, sorry,
Cold
all the
and-
symptoms that are common to cold and allergies. So a quick way to answer the question, what are they? It would just be everything in pink here, right? Those are the only symptoms that are common to both. So and is very restrictive. It says the answers are everything that is in both groups. So I can't include these and I cannot include these. What is the other symbol besides and?
or
Or symbol.
Or. And what would or do?
Has like a curve like a U.
It's
True. That's what it looks like. What would it do? What would the answer be?
It's all of the
It's
cold and
everything.
allergy.
And I really want you guys, that's why I love the bouncer thing. And it might be just me, but I really love the bouncer thing, not just because I came up with it, but the and very restrictive. Only these ones would get into the club, which makes me not want to go to the club if these are in there, but only these could go in because they're the only ones that meet both conditions. Or would take everybody here. And so what is listed is this missing anything from everything? Is this missing anybody, this list? It's got fever, it lasts for days. It's got runny nose, sneezing, all these, and it's got no fever and lasts for weeks. So what symbol would I use to represent this? It's basically the reverse question of number 2. Do you guys understand what I mean? So this one gave you the symbol and you had to tell me the symptoms. This one gave you the symptoms. So did this leave anybody out? Does this list leave anybody out?
No.
No.
No. So is that an and or is that an or?
It's an and.
No.
Or.
Oh.
Or. Yeah. And will leave things out. Does that, I really want you guys to get this. And is you have to meet all the requirements. So some things would get left out. This didn't leave anybody out. So it must be C or A. Do you see what I mean by number 4 is the opposite question from number 2? Number 2, they gave you the symbol, you had to list the symptoms. Number 4, they gave you the symptoms, you have to list the symbols. Or is the nice bouncer, more people can go in, or more. And is the evil bouncer, less and less people can go in. That's why it sucks that scholarships, the requirements are normally and. You gotta have a good GPA, and you gotta major in this, and you gotta be this person, and you gotta, and you're like, oh crap. All right, let me see. Okay. So the symbol for or is just, I love the symbol for or. It's just like you or you, somebody do it. It's a you. Okay, maybe. Anything else, guys? Did I miss anything? Number 1. On the same thing. Let's see. All right. So list the set of cold symptoms. The roster method, screw whatever they mean by that. It's just list them. What is in the cold circle? That's all that means. So people wrote fever and last days, and that's all they wrote. Is that all you get with the cold? No, you get everything that's in the cold circle. So you get everything except those, because those are not in the cold circle. So these are in the cold circle. They just happen to also be in the allergy circle. Okay. Let me try something. Let me see. I'm just using the space here. It's not this problem. So are these numbers? 1, 3, I don't mean to have a comma there. 5, 2, 4. Are those numbers? Those are numbers, right? That's amazing. Good job, Jeff. Those are numbers. Numbers. Now, what if I had another circle that was even numbers? It wouldn't be here because there's some even that's in here. So if I put a circle that was even, it would have to be like this. And then maybe have some more numbers over there. So this would be even numbers. I don't know if that, so 2 and 4 are still numbers. They're still in the number circle. They just happen to also be in the even number circle, right? I don't know if that helped. So it's like before I even drew the allergy circle, here's the cold circle. But when I drew the allergy circle, they just have to kind of overlap with all this business because allergies have all that stuff happening too. A reality I'm living right now. Allergies, the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah, just categorize lists. It's just that it's a nice visual that shows you the elements that are included in both and the elements that are included only in one and the elements that are not included in either. It's like outside number. That means neither, right? Okay, maybe.
Teacher, so number 3 is all of this.
Sorry?
Describe the symptoms that help you digest between cold and allergies. So it must be all
Yeah,
of
how
this.
can you distinguish? How can you tell them apart? You know you have a cold if what?
You sneeze, runny nose, cough.
No. If you sneeze, you have a runny nose, you might have an allergy, right?
Yeah.
What symptoms are
You have a fever.
If you have a fever and it lasts days and you have these, that's a cold.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's, and then the allergy, same idea. What symptoms are unique to allergies that would tell you it's an
No
allergy?
fever. The
Yeah,
last
there you go.
days.
There you go. All right, let me see if I missed anything here. 10 to 12. Let me see, 10 to 12. All right, let me see here. Oh, yeah, these get interesting. All right, let me see if I can do this and keep everything on here. Yeah, all right. So, rifampin, rifampin, I don't know. Rifampin, we'll call it rifampin. And we'll call them Rif and F. That doesn't really work. Rifampin and ethambutol. So how many people took rifampin and ethambutol but did not take isoniazid?
2.
Ethambutol.
Ethambutol?
46.
Ooh, interesting. How do you get 46?
Because you have to add up.
Go ahead, sorry.
You have to add up the numbers between the two.
So which circle do you
Griffin
have to
and
completely,
this
which circle do you have to completely ignore?
The isonid.
Yeah,
Yes.
this one and that one.
So I'm gonna throw all these people out. Go away, people. And now I'm basically left with the answer.
This one, this one.
So are we just adding all those?
Are we?
Yes.
So they have to be given rifampin and ethambutol. So we're almost there.
15.
How many people were given rifampicin and ethambutol? They have to have taken both.
15.
15. Oh, what do I got here? Do you guys see that? Because who are these 25 people? Did they get ethambutol and rifampicin?
No.
No. So do you see
Oh,
what I
it's
did?
15, huh?
Throw these people out. Okay, we threw those people out. Now we got to throw out anybody who didn't take both. Okay, that's that and that. So now we're left with 15. That's the one that's in this circle and in that circle. So those are the ones that
Okay.
took both. I don't know. What's the placebo question?
Teacher, can you tell me about 12? How many patients were given?
Yeah, hold on.
At least.
All right, hold on. So let's look at this while it's on the picture. Let me. I gotta erase this stuff here. Okay. How many patients were given at least isoniazid and ethambutol? So they have to have been given at least those two things. So they could have also taken what? You could do it. There's only 3 drugs. So they have to have taken at least these 2 drugs. So they could have taken what else?
This one. No,
Third one.
Yeah, the
D
only other
and
one there
A.
is. Yeah. So
yeah,
how many took, let's start with this. How many took both of these?
when you say 6 and 15,
6 and 8.
These guys took both isoniazid and ethambutol, and these guys took both of these also, right? And they took this one. That's allowed. It said at least isoniazid and ethambutol. So they could have taken more than those 2. All right. I basically just gave the answer. I'm not going to say it. Let me see. What am I missing here? Rifampicin. Yes. Rifampicin. All right. Let me clear this away. What was the last question?
12.
Oh, how many patients were given a placebo? Okay. So how many total patients were there?
14.
200.
200 right there. 200 people. Are all 200 represented here?
No.
No,
No. So whoever's left over is going to be where in the picture?
right there.
Outside, right?
Yeah.
Those are the people that did not get any of these drugs. They would have been given a placebo instead.
How do you get the outside number?
Well, how many people are in these circles?
Okay, that's how you get it. huh?
Add, and that's not going to make 200. So whatever's left over would be what's out here. Do you guys see
Okay,
that? Always,
Yeah.
every Venn diagram, however much is in the circles, you take the total minus that. That's what must be outside. I don't know. You guys gonna? I don't know what the answer is. Add all those up and subtract from 200. Okay, maybe. That's how you always find the outside number. Is you just see how many people are left that I haven't put down here yet, right? Oh, I don't know why. As I look at this, I think about a rack of pool balls. But all right, guys. Anything else? Did I miss anything? Let me see. Blah 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 blah. I think that's everything. Did I get everybody? Anything else? So 1-8 was you guys loved 1-8. I think I'm pretty much caught up on homework. There might have been some people that turned it in late last night or something that I haven't graded yet. It's rifampicin. Oh, okay. Thank you. All right. Anybody else? Anything else? There are certain medicines I definitely know how to pronounce because they're the ones I've had to take. Anything else, I have no idea. Everybody else is good? You guys good? No other questions? You guys are ready for that quiz? I like it. I like it.
So it was 87 people.
Yeah, somebody else agreed with that. That might be the answer. So let me see. 131. Oh, I guess you weren't here. Oh, you were here earlier. We did talk about these. So I don't know what the issue is here. Let me see. Hold on. All right. So on this problem, they tell you to use 10 through 19.9. And they tell you that all the others are going to be the same size. So the next one would be 20 to 29.9, and you just keep going. Now, how frequently does a data point show up between 10 and 19.9? Let's see. Twice, it looks like. Do you see that? And then just keep going. Which class contains the most values? Well, then once you got this completely filled in, you can just see which one's got the most values. Yeah, maybe. Is that all right out there? And then number 6 tells you to make a histogram. And this is the one we just spoke about. Right? So if I make this 2, this bar is going to be that big. And then you just keep going. All right, let me see what's going on. Oh, yeah. So again, if you're having trouble with the Kindle app and the book, reinstall the Kindle app. And if that doesn't work, I don't know what the hell to do for you. Sorry. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to keep, it's just a hassle to print the screen and put it all up there. And it's kind of illegal, so I don't want to really do it too much. It's a little tiny bit illegal for me to do what I was doing. So
Yeah.
sort of like speeding. I'll speed a little bit, but not too much, you know? All right. I'm on tape saying that. Great. I never speed, officer. That was a joke. Okay. We've obtained evidence from his YouTube channel. Damn. All right. I think I'm caught up now with questions, maybe, am I? Let me see. Somebody else asked the question, 134. Okay. Oh, so it says, how many states had less than 30 newspapers, for example? Well, where's 30 in this picture?
There is none.
There is. Or is there? I can't remember now. Yeah, there
Right
is.
here?
Oh, my bad. Never
4 or
mind.
5 means 45. So 30. Brenda, I love you. I can't see when you point at something, I can't see it. So there's 30. Right? So how many
Yeah.
are below 30? How many are less than 30? What would you do?
Less.
Count all less than 20, less than 30.
Yeah, just count all these, right?
We want to count everything before it.
We go 30, 32, 37, 38.
No. That's more than 30.
Yeah.
The problem said less than 30 newspapers. So that would be all these up here.
3 plus 5 plus 6.
Yeah, you just count
7.
these.
Yes.
Is that all right? Those are all less than 30, correct? So you just have to count all these.
Oh,
And then how many had more than 100? Well, you find 100 would be in here somewhere, right?
yeah.
Then these must be the ones more than 100. Okay, so I basically did that for you. Yeah, this is good. I appreciate this, Daniela. Somebody else, I suggested this to somebody else, and I think it worked for them. If you have the Kindle app on one device, try to install it on a different device and see if it opens up fully for you there. So I've got my Kindle app on my phone and on my laptop, and they're both kind of working for me, so I'm just lucky. But if you're having trouble with your iPhone, well, that's understandable because they suck. But Put it on your laptop
Hey,
and see.
hey,
Them's fighting words, Jeff.
hey.
I'm an
Those
Android.
really are.
I'm an Android boy. Let me see. Steve Jobs gonna come get me from the afterlife. Let me see. 1.7, number 7 and 8. I like my Android with Google. It's got Gorilla Glass, so if I drop it, nothing happens. Which one say 7 and 8? So this is the one where I said, all right, the amount of taxes paid for this group was 7.88 times 10 to the 6th. How much is the government's revenue total? $3.02 trillion. All right, so these numbers are gross. So let's say that the amount of taxes paid by this group was $10, and the total amount of money taken in by the federal government, let's say, is $300. I just make the numbers nice. How would I figure out the percentage that this is out of this?
Don't
What
you
would I do?
divide?
Yeah, of course. So I would divide 10 by 300, and whatever that is, that would be my percentage, right? So this will come out to 3.33%, whatever. So what do I do with the numbers, the gross numbers? Well, I take that and I divide by this. I do the same thing. So by making the numbers nicer, you're kind of taking the ugliness of the numbers out of the way. So then your brain can latch on to the correct operation. So that's the thing I showed you guys yesterday. Does that help with number 7? I mean, I just told you exactly what to do, so it has to. All right. Does everybody understand
So
that
you
this 10
divide this number to this number.
Brenda, I love you, Brenda. I can't see when you point at things, but yeah, you divide this. You want to know what percentage this is out of this. So you divide this by this. I like it.
I see what I did wrong. I flipped it.
Ah, okay.
So first we solve the 7.88 times 10 to the 6th power,
What do you mean solve it?
like 7.88 and then multiply it by 10.6.
If you want to, sure. But all you have to do is do this divided by, now what is trillion? Remember that little chart that I showed you that's in an earlier page?
12?
Yeah. And then you do that division. Okay. So that's how you always get a percentage. It's the part divided by the whole. That is how to figure out a percentage, period.
I'll tell you.
Professor, I have a question.
Yes.
I understand that how to write scientific notation, but how do you write decimal notation?
It's just going backwards. So if I wanted to write 7.88 times 10 to the 6th in decimal notation, this tells me to move the decimal how many times, which direction?
Oh, to the right.
6.
Yeah, so 1, 2.
Ah.
And I gotta go 1, 2, 3, 4 more to make 6, right? That's how I do it.
Okay, good to go. Thank you.
Sweet.
So the answer is 3.832487 times 10, then 5 over the 10.
No, I don't know what happened. I'm not sure what happened.
You put it in a notation, right?
So you could do in the calculator, I would divide these and you get a number times 10 to the what? What do you do with the powers here?
Put them up
What do you do
there.
with the powers here? Somebody remind me. Look over here. Look over here. Look over here.
Subtract.
Yeah, subtract, exactly. If I had x to the 8th divided by x squared, you would do x to the 6th. 8 x's minus 2x's. So here I'm going to get some, whatever the hell this is, put that in the old calculator, times 10 to the negative 6, because that's 6 minus 12. So you got to know your basic power operations, right? Everybody here should be able to do x squared times x to the 7th, right? What would that be?
X to the 9th.
Yeah, right. You add the powers because you got 2 x's and then there's 7 more x's in a row. So of course now you got 9 x's in a row, right? And then when you divide, if I had x to the 11th divided by x to the 8th, that would be x to the
3rd.
3rd. Exactly. You just subtract. So here, 6.
So when you do size notation, all of this is giving you the same answer.
Well, yeah,
but
because
in
they're the
zero.
same numbers. I really, really want you to understand. They're the same numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they give you the same answer. Yeah,
Okay.
I like it. All right. Let me see. Did I miss anything else? 1, 7, and 8. Number 8 is you just have to take a difference to see how much more money there was spent or whatever. Let me see. Yeah. Why the 3.02 has 10 to the 2nd power. Where what? Where are we at? 3.02, 10 to the 2nd? Definitely not. It's got 10 to the 12th, right? Yeah, because 12, so okay. All right, hold on. Oh, there's a really kick-ass little table. Very useful. Trillion is 12 zeros. So if you had a 7 followed by 12 zeros, that's 7 trillion. Right? If you had an 11 followed by 9 zeros, that's 11 billion. And so forth. Is that cool? This is a beautiful little table. So pretty. Okay. Sorry. All right. All right. All right. I think I got everybody. Did I? Did I miss anybody? Blah, 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 blah. I think that's everybody. Okay. Okay, good. Good questions. I love it. All right. So we're going to get back into, let's see, what page was this? I'm almost there. So we finished section 2.1 yesterday. We really did. That was the one about mean, median, mode, right? So we sort of did a little preview of 2.2 at the end of class yesterday. So let's really get into it for real. Oh, let me do this before I forget. Bam! It's all about me. Okay. So there's the homework for that. All right. So here's 2.2. All right. Let me ask you guys. Let me just ask you guys. What's the difference? All right, let me get off my ass. Let me see. Let me see if I can be less lazy. Let's see if I can do that. Oh, Jeff is so lazy now. Let's see. Let me turn off my background here. Bop. All right. What's the difference between an equation and an expression? Does anyone currently know what that difference is?
Is it the difference between simplifying something and having an equal sign at the end where there's a solid answer?
Okay, so the equal sign is a huge giveaway, right? If there's an equal sign contained in it, that of course must be what?
That's an equation.
That's crazy. Equation versus expression. And then I'm going to have another versus here in a minute, but we're not going to let this one into the fight yet. So an equation is something that has an equal sign in it, generally. So it is something that I can actually solve. An expression is something that doesn't have an equal sign in it. That's an expression. So what can I do with an equation? I can solve an equation. What can I do with an expression maybe? If I throw that in there, what can I do with the expression? What can I do with that?
Combine like
Combine them all.
Combine like terms, so I can simplify. So I can solve an equation. I can simplify an expression maybe, right? And then there's one more thing that's it's kind of like a specific equation. It's called a formula. And here's some like standard examples of formulas. What is this one for? Anybody know? That's the formula for what? Does anyone know that formula?
I want to say pi, but I think that I'm wrong.
Well, it uses pi.
Oh, okay. never mind.
Do you see how there's a square there? And you see how there's the letter A? So it's got to be the area of something. And what shapes use pi?
It's a circle.
Yeah, so this is the area of a circle. So a formula is a special type of equation that has more variables in it. So I can't solve it until I know some values. Are you guys with me? So that's the slight little difference between an equation and a formula. A formula normally is generally usable for certain situations, and I have to know certain values to be able to solve it. Okay, maybe. All right, and then we have this perimeter is 2w plus 2l. We have E equals mc squared. Yeah, buddy. That's a formula. Formula. How much energy you would get from matter if you converted all of the matter into energy. That's where shit blows up, right?
Is that an E?
Sorry?
Is that an E?
This little dude?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's an E. Here, let me make it. E. There we go. All right. So there's equations versus expressions versus formulas. Formulas are basically equations. They're just kind of like, they're not really equations yet because they don't have enough information. I need some data so if I knew the radius of the circle, I could throw it in there and then I could solve it. All right. Now, when I'm talking about formulas and equations, formulas especially. So let me ask you this. Let's look at this first one. Can somebody identify for me which thing is the input and which thing is the output? And let me ask first, can somebody tell me which letter up here isn't actually a variable?
The pi.
The pi. The pi is a set value, right? 3.141596, and that's all I know.
Literally.
Huh?
Oh, nothing. Never mind.
That's right. So it's 3.1415, and then so forth. So on March 14th, 2015, I was at a math conference, and we had this big celebration to celebrate pi on March 14th, 2015, because we're geeks. We're weird, but that's okay. I had little pies. It was awesome. It was young. So that is that's just a number. That is a number, but we use a symbol because it's a number that never frickin' stops. It just goes forever. So we use a symbol for it. So between this and this, which one would you consider to be the input? Does anyone know?
R.
Good. R is the input. So radius. We actually you can do it, Jeff. The real word we use for this is it's the independent variable. And yes, you must understand this because if I take a circle and I change its radius, I make the radius bigger, isn't that going to make the area bigger, right? So if I have some dough and it's this big, and then I roll it out and now it's this big, haven't I made the area of the dough larger? You guys all with me? Anybody? Nobody?
Yes.
Okay. So not surprisingly, the output is the area, and it's what we call the dependent. That makes so much freaking sense. Doesn't the area of a circle depend on its radius?
Yeah.
That's why we call the area the dependent variable, especially the way that the formula is written, just in case there's somebody out there that's going to get all technical on me. Okay. I didn't know that Mariah had a Einstein-related album, but that's all right. All right. How's everybody doing so far? Is this freaking anybody out?
Yes, it's new.
So let's do some more examples of this, I think.
Yes,
Right?
it is.
The book has got like a ton of examples. So let's go back in the book. All right, let me see. Where'd I put the book? There it is. So let's look at that, because that's the thing that's kind of new, this idea of independent versus dependent. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so which sentence makes more sense? The amount of time you spend studying depends on the grade you earn, or the grade you earn depends on the amount of time you spend studying. Which sentence makes more sense? A or B?
B.
Yeah, I would say B. A would be weird. You'd wait to see what grade you got, and then you go, all right, now I'm going to study this. So, I mean, you could argue if your grade gets sucky, then you're going to increase the amount of time you study. But that's because you know the grade you earn does depend on the amount of time you spend studying. Now, real quick, before anybody yells at me, is that the only thing that your grade depends on?
No.
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 So there are other variables, but between these two variables, let me see if you guys can make this connection now. Which one of these, the grade or the time spent studying, which one of those is the dependent variable? Which one depends on the other one?
Your grade is dependent.
Grade.
This is dependent on this, so this is independent. So if I had an equation, it would be something like grade equals something time. So grade depends on time somehow. Is there an equation like that? Yeah, sort of, not really. All right. Let me stop for a minute. Okay, let's keep going. There's some more examples coming. Whoa. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So which one of these would be the dependent variable? The age of a tree or the height of a tree? Which one would you say is the dependent variable? So the way you say this to yourself is,
Hi.
Height.
does
Height.
the height depend on the age, or does the age depend on the height? So I agree with you. It seems like it would make more sense to say that the height depends on the age. So if I had an equation for a tree, it would be height equals something to do with age, right? So maybe there's a tree somewhere that's the height is twice the age or something. I don't know. So when it's just born, it's like 0 inches tall. And then a year later, it's 2, or maybe it's feet. I don't know. And then a year later, it's 4. I don't know if you guys are with me or not. I don't know. I'm making up the equation. But what this means is if there was an equation I created, it would be height, it would be the output variable, and age would be the input. So dependent is output, independent is input. And you got to love the in. I don't know how you guys are doing. This is the most algebra we've done in a while. And it's not even algebra. It's just kind of algebra definitions, which is really, really exciting. I know. So what about this? Which one's the dependent variable? The number of practice sessions or the quality of a musical performance? Which one is the dependent variable?
Practice.
So you say that the number of practice sessions
Yes.
depends on the quality of the performance?
Yes, I think so.
All right.
Backwards.
So would the number of practice sessions change because of the quality of the performance, or does it make more sense that the quality of the performance changes because of the number of practice sessions? Which one makes more sense?
The quality.
The quality will change.
Good. So the quality, is that the dependent or independent? The quality changes.
Yeah.
That's
the quality depends on.
Yes.
The quality is dependent. And the number of practice sessions is independent. So whichever one makes more sense to say it depends on the other one, that's the dependent variable. So if I practice more, won't that change the quality of my performance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. All right. Maybe. So what about your score in a placement test and the math courses you've taken previously? Which one depends on the other one?
Math courses.
So would you have taken different math courses based on a placement test you take today? Or would your score on a placement test today change if you had taken different math courses before?
Your placement would change based on the courses that you take.
Yeah. So which one's the dependent variable?
The score.
The score is dependent. The score you make depends on what math courses you've taken, right? So if you haven't taken any math courses ever in your life, you are more than likely going to score very low on that placement test, right? All right. Do you guys start to get the feel for this? I mean, it's kind of like you got to get used to what to ask yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, basically one depends on the other.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. That's it. So what about your blood pressure versus the amount of time you spend exercising each week? Which one most directly affects the other one? Or which one is affected by the, how do I say this? So which one is the dependent variable? Which one?
Your blood pressure.
Blood pressure.
Blood pressure, yeah. So this is dependent. This is independent. So I can change this. I can change this. And because I change this, this would change. Now, again, I don't want to get too deep in the weeds, but you can argue, oh, your blood pressure is something, then you might want to increase your time spent exercising. But you do that because you know the amount of time you spend exercising will affect your blood pressure. So that's the relationship. All right, I can sense you guys love these problems. All right, let me see. I'm going to clear these away. It's all going to go away. Bye, stuff. Okay. Oh, here's maybe I should stay away from this problem. I don't want to shit more on Apple than I already have. Somebody's going to come get me. Blah, 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 blah. All right, now look. So we already talked about this earlier. So these are all expressions. These are fantastic expressions. How do I know they're not equations?
There's no equal sign.
No equal sign.
Good. And that's the same reason they're not formulas also, right? So an equation and a formula have equal signs. A formula is just a special kind of equation. And it normally has many variables or, more than one. Okay. All right. Blah, 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 blah. So this one, what kind of an equation is this? Let me see if you guys can. If I graphed this, what would it look like? We've done these before. Does it tell you here somewhere? No. I like it. So for example, is this an exponential equation? Is this a linear equation? Is this a quadratic equation? Does anyone know? No? All right, let's do this. What's my input variable here? What's my independent variable? And they basically tell you. So if you just read a little bit, you'll see it. M is my input variable, miles, and C, cost, is the output. So what if I go no miles? This is if I go into a cab, I got to pay $2 just to get in the cab, and then it's $2.50 for each mile. So you see why it's $2 plus $2.50 for every mile. So that equation makes sense. So if I get in the cab and give $2 and I'm like, oh crap, I can't leave yet. He's going to keep my $2 crap. So it's going to cost me $2. So if I put a 0 in for M, I'll get the cost is $2. Is that cool so far?
Yes.
All right, somebody help. Don't say anything yet. Go ahead and put a 1 in. What do you get when you put a 1 in? Just take a breath. Hold on. What do you get if you put a 1 in for M?
When I change M to 1 times 1.
Yeah, so you put a 1 in here for M. What do you get?
450.
450, right? Is that cool? You get 450. What if you put a 2 in there?
7.
Yeah, exactly. So put a 2 in there. Twice 250 is 5. Plus 2 is 7. So I get 7. How much is this keep going up by the same amount?
Yes.
Shouldn't be surprising that it is. How much? Of course, it's going up by 250. That's the slope, right? So is this linear or exponential growth?
Exponential.
No, man.
Linear growth.
Yeah. So the stuff we're doing in previous sections, they're supposed to be like become a part of you now. So how do I tell linear growth? I keep adding the same amount. How do I tell exponential growth?
Timesing.
Keep multiplying by the same amount. Thank you. Okay, so if I did graph this, it would look like a line. So that's why we call it linear. Okay. All right, so I'm going to clear all this away. So you can tell there's going to probably be problems. See here where they put 7. If I wanted to take a 7-mile cab ride, you throw a 7 in there, right? And then you just calculate, just like we did with the little table we started making. So there's probably going to be problems like that where you got to throw stuff in to a given equation. All right. And then they do something we've done before. I'm really hoping this hasn't gone out of your brain. Do you guys remember, anybody remember what the formula for simple interest was. Simple interest. Let me tell you the variables involved. Interest, principal, rate, time. Does anyone remember the formula?
It's I equals P times R times T.
That's right. I, be pretty. Right? Do you guys remember doing these problems? Simple interest problems?
Yes.
So P is the principal that I put in. So if I do this, I'll get an amount of interest. So if I take the principal plus the interest, that'll tell me the total amount of money I've got in my account after so many years. Do you guys remember doing those problems? Maybe. So that's all this is. Do you see that? If I take the amount of money I start with and I add the amount of interest I make, of course I'm going to get the total amount of money at the end. We've done these problems before. Believe it or not. Some of you guys are like, I wipe my memory every week. What are you talking about? Damn. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Yeah. I like it. I like it. So look at, they're trying to make an interesting point on number 4. In any given situation, I'm going to know the principal and the interest rate. Right? I'm going to know how much money I put in the bank, and I'm going to know how much interest the bank is going to give me. What's the two things, while I tell you, that leaves the amount of money I have at the end and the time I leave it in the bank? Those are the actual variables then. Those are the things that can change in a given situation. Considering this equation, which one of those, A or T, this should be really simple, would be the input? Which one of those is the input? The A or the T? The A or the T? Which one's the input?
The A, right? Yeah.
A. Because the A change independent about the time.
It was a 50-50 shot, and did we shoot wrong?
Well, I would hope that it would be better than a 50-50. So again, I really want you guys to get this. Look up here. If I have an equation like this, can somebody tell me if I wanted to know one value and I start to make a little table, which letter would I put a value in for and then figure out the other one?
You would put in for the X.
So that is the
okay.
input. That makes sense. That is the input.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the variable that's by itself. So something I saw in chat, somebody had the right answer. The variable that's by itself is the output. It's just waiting. And I can't do anything until I put something in. That's why we call it the input. Once I put something in for T, I can do this shit, and then something's going to come out. Make this thing. So remember this means that the amount of money I make is dependent on the time I leave it in the bank, right? The time I leave it in the bank determines the amount of money I make.
But it's not in this case, the amount I make depend on the time. If I put it in the short time, maybe it's
That's
less
what, yeah.
than is a
Yes. Isn't that, no, I am going a little senile maybe, but isn't that what I just said? So the amount that I make depends on the time that I leave it in the account. Yes, that's right. That's what I just said. Okay. Input and independent mean the same thing. Output and dependent mean the same thing. Okay. All right. I don't want to get too in the weeds here. The definitions are important. They're not everything, but they are important. All right. Let me clear all this away. Clear. Now, look at this next thing here. Right, so if I put, let me show you what they did. They got to put $2,000 in at 3% interest rate, right? So that's where this came from. I really want you guys to see where this came from. Let's see if we can get what they got here. So let me write the equation down again. So A equals P plus PRT. If I let P be 2,000 and I let R be 3%, what is 3%? How should I put it in the equation? I'm not going to put 3. What am I going to put in there? Change it into a normal number. What's 3% as a decimal?
0.03.
0.03. So if I put that in there, I'm going to get A is 2,000, right? I'm going to put P is 2,000. So P is 2,000. R is 0.03. What is 2,000 times 0.03? Right, I'm just putting stuff in and then I can do stuff. What is 2,000 times 0.03? Somebody got their calculator or bam, bam,
60.
bam, bam, 60. So now you see where they got that equation from over here. See that? Yeehaw. So in the situation where I have $2,000 and the account is a 3% account, this is what the formula looks like. So how would I get the rest of these filled in? What would I do for this first one? What's this
Plug
mean?
one into the T spot.
Yeah, if T is 1, so if the input is 1, what's the output?
2060.
2060. And of course, there's a bit of a shortcut here. If you remember, this is a linear function. Could somebody predict for me what the next one's going to be without doing any work, really? This went up by how much? So it's going to go up by the same amount. 2120, exactly. And if we do it, 2,000 plus 60 times 2, of course, is going to be Jeff, 2120. And then you just really have to keep adding 60, add 60, add 60, because it's just linear. That's the power of knowing something's linear. Just got to keep adding the same amount. Now, again, we've done this before. We've done this simple interest thing before. So you should probably know what's about to happen, right? What comes after simple interest?
Compound interest.
Dudular. Compound interest. So that, of course, is exactly, well, after they talk about Excel, does anyone remember that equation at all? Does that look at all familiar to anybody?
Yes.
Somebody could just say yes and just make me happy.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, Jeff, yeah. No, I agree. I trust you. All right. So that, of course, is if you make interest on top of the interest you already made. That's compound interest. So that's going to grow faster. We've done all that before, right? So this is not completely new. They're just making it more explicit about input and output, but they're using something we've done already. So that's kind of nice. Let me see. Let's take a look at what the homework looks like. Ooh, I like it. So they kind of do like the stuff we did about what's independent, dependent. They give you a formula that you have to use to figure out all these. Is this can somebody tell me, is this linear? Do you see why it isn't linear?
Because of the exponent?
Yes, because it's got R squared. So this is going to grow much faster than a linear would, right? Okay, so they're going to ask you to fill this table in using that equation, that formula. Fill that in, and then they're going to ask a few questions about your results. That makes sense. Oh, and that's not very big. All right, it's not a very long one. You got to like that shit. And then a little preview. Let's see what the next section is going to be. Oh my goodness. I love when books pander to students, whatever. Yeah, now we're going to talk about a little something we've talked a little bit about before, area and volume. And then some simplification problems. So that's going to come up. And I think eventually, I think pretty soon we're going to do, let me see. I think it's conversions that are coming up pretty soon. Let me see if I'm right. Yeah, conversions are next. Yeah. Ooh, that's going to be exciting. Unfortunately, we can't, mess with acid. And I don't mean that kind of acid. I mean the other kind of acid. Yeah, that's all I have for today. We actually have made it through. So this is not too early, so I don't feel too bad. So I can let you guys out now. If anybody has questions, let me know. You can stay after. Otherwise, you are free to go. The quiz should be active now. Let me see. All right, what's going on with my mouse? Here we go. Let me see. So if you want to start the quiz now, I think you should be able to access it now. Let me double check here.
And the quiz is due tomorrow at 8 a.m., right?
Hold on. No, I gave you until, let me show you. All right, so if you go to modules, let me become a student. Get up here, become a student. Quiz 2, bam. I made it do, wait. Oh, it's not open yet. It will be open in 3 minutes. Jeff. All right, let me show you. I gave you until, I guess it is tomorrow. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. So I gave you a little more time. It's a little bit longer, but this is going to be too much time. So you got plenty of time to do the quiz. And I decided to go ahead and give you until tomorrow at 4, just so you can find a time. So, of course, tomorrow morning when class starts, anybody who's in class better not also be taking the quiz at the same time. I don't know why I have to say that.
Professor, it says this week we don't have class tomorrow on your announcements.
Oh, it's right. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. You're right. I forgot. I thought it was next week. Tomorrow I've got another one of those state meetings. So yeah, we're off class tomorrow. So that makes sense. Then it's due tomorrow at 4 p.m. because we don't even have class tomorrow. Thank you for reminding me. So yeah, that's in the announcements. There we go. No class March 4th. Look at past Jeff doing smart things. I love it. So there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, of course
Thank you
still
so much,
latest.
Professor.
Yeah. Oh, and I'll still have my office hours tomorrow, right? From 2 to 3. So if you don't want to start the quiz until after, well, you could still do that. I wouldn't recommend it, but it will. All right. Everybody good? I'm going to head out if I don't see any questions. All right, guys. I'll see y'all later.